Hi, everybody. Welcome to Within the Frame. I'm Richard Fink. And if you're wondering where Janet is today, Janet is out of town, so I'm flying solo today. But luckily for me, not a lot of news broke because it's post-Thanksgiving, pre-Christmas, that week where really nothing happens. Everyone's too busy to post any movie news, and that's good for me, so it makes my Christmas shopping season easier. So Arizona news-wise, not much to report on. Studio 48, the studio that is being set up here to kind of bring film and television and commercials back to Arizona, had its press conference in London this past Wednesday. That's all we have so far for Arizona news, and anything else we'll keep you guys posted on. As far as mainstream movie news goes, it's just a bunch of release date shuffles. This tends to happen. You know, movie studios will pick out a release date like 2 or 3 years in advance, and sometimes they find their project isn't ready. Maybe other films get announced that kind of pose a threat to it, so they move it back. The two of the ones we have are DC properties. The first one is Aquaman, which was set for July of 2018, but has now been pushed to October 5th of 2018. I think this is a good pick for Aquaman. You know, less crowded. It's interesting to have a big movie open in October. We never really have had that yet. October, September, and January and February. January are still like no-go month. February is because of Valentine's Day opens up a little bit more, but we never we have now made March and November and April, all these other months where we release big event films. So why not widen the scope to all year round? I kind of wish though Aquaman was coming out in the summer because water and just the aquatic nature of Aquaman would be a good summer fit. Hot summer day, going to see a nice, cool ocean movie. It worked well for Finding Dory, and it might work well for Baywatch, which we're going to talk about later. The next one we have is Ben Affleck's Batman movie has now taken the spot of Justice League 2. Justice League 2 was set for a June 14th, 2019 release date. Sadly, they're pushing it back, probably to 2020. Now, Batman will take its spot because we haven't had enough Batman movies, obviously. You guys know me. I love superhero movies, and I'm about to talk about how I'm excited for the new Spider-Man movie. But Batman is I'm full. I'm done. I've just had my fill of him. And people would say maybe I have a bias against Batman, but it's just after 8 live-action Batman movies plus a Lego Batman movie, you'd think we've done enough with Batman. Or just give him a break. Let him be a supporting character. DC's got so many other characters. The fact that we're getting another Batman movie before another proper Superman movie is a little hurtful. But we also have Warner Brothers move some release dates around. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, will now arrive in theaters on May 12th. Mother's Day weekend. It comes out the week after Guardians. Interesting that this is the second time a medieval fantasy film has opened the week after a Marvel sequel to a property that nobody expected. Robin Hood in 2000 opened right the week after Iron Man 2, and King Arthur will now open behind Guardians. I think it's interesting for King Arthur because they're sort of in a tough spot. In March is so crowded already that we don't know if they'll be able to survive because we already have in March Kong, Power Rangers, Beauty and the Beast, Ghost in the Shell. Just so many event movies coming on top of each other that Arthur might have gotten crushed. But it's going to get crushed in summer because summer is where it's more crowded. So I'm hoping it does well. I liked the trailer. I think it's an interesting direction. But we'll see. Other release dates, Chips, the adaptation of the television show, has been moved to the March release date and will now open on March 24th against Power Rangers. And Annabelle 2, which originally had the May release date that King Arthur took, is now being moved to a more Halloween-friendly release date of August. Now it won't have to compete with Alien Covenant, which also will be coming out in May. So we don't want to have 2 horror movies coming out in May. Plus, come on, people are going to want to see Alien more. And that's pretty much it as far as mainstream release date changes. One last one. I totally forgot about this. How to Train Your Dragon 2 got pushed back for the 3rd time. Or not 2, 3. How to Train Your Dragon 3. For those of you who don't know, How to Train Your Dragon 3 was actually originally supposed to come out this year before the sequel came out. And then they were like, we're going to push it back to 2017. And then they're like, well, we're going to push it back to 2018. And now they're like, well, let's push it back to 2019. It's kind of sad because I think How to Train Your Dragon is probably DreamWorks' best franchise so far. But maybe it's good. Let them develop those stories a little bit more. DreamWorks has lost its place as Disney and Pixar's biggest competitor. That's Illumination Entertainment now. So DreamWorks has had to make cuts and cut back. And, it's just interesting that by the time How to Train Your Dragon 2 comes out, it'll have been 9 years since the first film. And it'll be 5 years since the second film. So it's a very long gap for a sequel to a kid's film. Now, obviously, the big one we're talking about today is movie trailers. Guys, we got Spider-Man, Guardians, The Mummy, Baywatch, a little teaser for a trailer for Furious 8 or whatever they're calling it now. We'll get to that later. But seriously, we knew before Rogue One came out that a bunch of trailers would be dropping because every trailer wants to be attached to Rogue One. So let's run down some of the big ones that hit over the past week. We're going to start out with the one that hit on Sunday, which was The Mummy. This is Universal's attempt to revive their monster cinematic universe. Actually, the cinematic universe of the Universal Monsters predates the MCU by about 60, 70 years. In the 40s, obviously, you had Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Invisible Man, the Mummy, the Creature from the Black Lagoon. These films would eventually cross over, and they would eventually go down to the comedy route with the Abbott and Costello films. And now Universal's bringing it back in a big way. Tom Cruise is starring in The Mummy, and the trailer, it looks interesting, I want to say. Janet's boyfriend Victor commented that it looks like X-Men Apocalypse without the X-Men, and I think that's an apt comparison, especially since the writer and director confirmed that one of the reasons they changed the gender of the Mummy was to avoid X-Men Apocalypse comparisons. But it's an interesting place to start a monster universe. It looks very different from a Mummy movie you would expect, because I think everyone remembers those in the 90s Mummy films. And it certainly sets a different tone. I like the idea of doing a contemporary story, the idea of using these very big-name celebrities to anchor these monster movies, because it takes a very B-genre premise, but kind of elevates it by getting these stars, because you have Russell Crowe in the trailer as Dr. Jekyll, setting him up as like the Nick Fury of these films that will set him up for other monsters that we're going to be encountering. And the scope looks big. It looks bigger than anything we'd expect from a normal horror movie or monster movie. So I don't want to say excited, but I'm curiously optimistic, and I'm a little bummed that Dracula Untold isn't part of it, but Dracula Untold wasn't very good to begin with, so I guess we'll find a new Dracula. The next trailer that dropped was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm a big Guardians of the Galaxy fan. I really loved the first film. I was excited for it when they first announced it back in 2012. And then when they announced the sequel, I've been hyping it up ever since. I was so excited. I've been following the production of this movie. And when I saw the trailer, I have to admit, I was a little just like, okay, cool. I wasn't blown away. And I think the reason I wasn't blown away are two reasons. One, I've been spoiled because of Wonder Woman and Logan. Those trailers were amazing. And I think they just gave me too much of what I wanted, and Guardians, it was unfair of me to hold that against Guardians. But the second one is just Guardians was more about selling a tone that they've already sold me on. I'm already tuned into this Guardians world and this universe and a sense of humor. So the idea of like basically doing a trailer for me is for like this is like, well, I've already been sold this. It's cool to get a glimpse of all of them again. I think it's fun to get an idea of see Star-Lord and the gang back together again. But it's just like I would maybe like a little bit more on the plot. I know it's a teaser, but even a teaser, you should tease you a little bit of the direction that the plot will be taking. But the humor's still on point. It's still funny. Baby Groot is just Disney's reason to print money. Like the minute I saw him, I was like, Baby Dory, your days are numbered. Because that little motherfucker. Sorry, I know I'm not allowed to curse on here, but I couldn't resist because Baby Groot, those eyes, it's adorable. And he can either get really annoying or he's going to get cuter and cuter with each scene. I like that even in the trailer they called him Baby Groot, so I'm wondering if in Infinity War we're going to call him Teenage Groot. He's going to be all mopey. But anyway, Guardians, I'd give it a thumbs up. I'm excited. The next trailer that dropped was Transformers The Last Night. And I'm going to run you through my relationship with the Transformers films, is that every time one of these movies comes out, I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm not seeing these movies anymore. They're garbage. They're nonsense. They ruined this franchise. I'm not doing it anymore. And then the trailer comes out, and I'm like, they're different this time. They've changed. It's going to treat me better. I've deserved better. I've earned better. And they've listened to my complaints. They're going to be better. And then when the movie comes out, I'm like, I got tricked again. Seriously, they fooled me. They fooled me not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 times. I don't know the version of 4. Force? I don't know. But I'm like in an abusive relationship, so I was happy to say that with this one, I was finally like, I'm not tricked anymore. Because I saw the trailer, I was like, I'm not excited. Nothing about this trailer excited me. It actually kind of bored me. And you'd think that a trailer with Nazis and knights and a robot dragon transformer would excite me, but it's like the entire time I was just like, what are you doing? The only thing I thought that was kind of cool in this trailer was the idea that there's the Latin inscription of a medal that Anthony Hopkins' character runs, and it basically translates to there is no victory without sacrifice, which is an interesting play of the line in the first film of the Witwicky family, where it's like no sacrifice, no victory. So maybe that'll come into play. Maybe Shia LaBeouf's character descended from these knights of whatever. I thought that was cool, but the rest of the trailer it just didn't excite me. I don't know if that's Unicron, but it feels like it's 5 films and we're now just getting Unicron as nonsense or too little too late. And it really hurts because the idea of seeing Optimus and Bumblebee fight should be really emotionally powerful. I should be like, oh my god, this should be like Captain America Civil War level, like they're friends and their mentorships fighting. And now I just don't care because we have not got to know anything about Bumblebee and Optimus at all as characters. And Optimus is kind of ruthless throughout these films, so this actually doesn't make me think he's mind controlled. I just think this is the logical step for someone who shot an enemy in the face point blank when he's like begging for mercy, and then Optimus straight up wanted to kill some humans in the 4th film. So Optimus has kind of been a dick. Transformers: The Last Knight, could care less. I'm still going to go see it, though. You know, I went on this whole rant, but I'm still going to go see it because I'm in an abusive relationship. The next one is Baywatch. Didn't expect this one. I'd heard about it. I really wish for marketing purposes, I know they have to call it Baywatch for licensing, but I really wish they could do call it Bay, like BAE Watch, because of all the attractive people in it. But, it looks like they're doing like a 21 Jump Street style comedy. I could get on board with that. It could be 21 Jump Street. It could be Dukes of Hazzard, where it could be not funny at all, or it could be Starsky and Hutch, where it's like the middle ground. Zac Efron's a really talented, funny guy. Same with Dwayne Johnson, and it's really exciting for Alexandra Daddario, who has such versatility from shows like True Detective or the Percy Jackson movies, to be doing something like this. Because if she's funny in this, then I want to call nonsense, because it's ridiculous that Alexandra Daddario, Zac Efron, and Dwayne Johnson can be that good looking and that funny, and some of us, like myself, have no talent at all, and don't look that good. So it's unfair. Where were the talent being passed out then? But Baywatch, as a comedy, that didn't sell me, but I'm interested based off the cast and the director who did Horrible Bosses, which is one of my favorite comedies. Cracks me up every time still. And the other trailer, I was about to say the last trailer, but another one dropped this morning. So the biggest one for me, Spider-Man Homecoming. Oh yeah! Oh my god! I thought after 5 Spider-Man movies, there wouldn't be a Spider-Man movie left to tell. I was like, I think I was like how I feel with Batman. I was like, I'm done. What more can we do with Spider-Man? And I never realized how I never got the Spider-Man I always wanted as a kid. Because this trailer, from the moment Spider-Man showed up, I lit up, and it was like seeing the Spider-Man you always read as a kid. It was your hero on the screen. And he's funny. He moves like Spider-Man should move. And I just love the tone of the trailer. The idea of this, like, it's more of a high school film, like 10 Things I Hate About You or The Breakfast Club, with superpowers. That the main focus probably will not be the villain. There'll still be villain action in it, but it's mainly going to be a high school film, and that probably the climax is going to be him getting the date. And that's always been the thing about Spider-Man, was it was balancing the being a superhero with being a teenager also, and that the superpowers were metaphors for him being a teenager, and that they didn't make his life better, they actually made his life worse. Instead of getting rid of bullies, he just got supervillains as bullies. So I really think that this trailer, and they released 2 trailers. They released an international trailer, and they released one for the States. I like the state one better just because of the more high school vibe. The international trailer was more like Marvel, like action hero kind of thing. And I liked more of the high school vibe, because I think selling a different tone for a Spider-Man movie, because he was in like high school in the Tobey Maguire movie for like 10 minutes, and then in one Amazing Spider-Man film, and they just brought him off to college. So it's nice to see them finally committing to this. Also, how can I not mention this? Like, what kind of world do we live in where I get to see Iron Man and Spider-Man flying across the screen together? It's like, I'm really in having the time of my life. And I thought I was kind of worried about Iron Man's inclusion in this, because I was like, is he going to overshadow Spider-Man? Are you really making a Spider-Man movie? Yeah, just like with Civil War, they seem to be, the focus is on Spider-Man, and I like the idea of developing a mentor relationship with Iron Man. And this is about Spider-Man proving himself with his first batch of supervillains, because Spider-Man, in this point of his life, hasn't encountered supervillains before. He's just been taking out normal bank robbers. That's where Tony thinks he should be. Criminals that can't pose a threat. But what happens when characters like the Vulture, who looks... Oh, he looks so cool! And then Shocker come into play. I just can't. I can't deal with how excited I am for Spider-Man Homecoming. It really has bumped up the list. I'm more excited for Spider-Man. Based off the 2 trailers, I'm more excited for Spider-Man Homecoming than I am for Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I'm still excited for Guardians, but Spider-Man looks like the Spider-Man movie I've always wanted and never got. And the last trailer, guys, is War for the Planet of the Apes. I loved Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and I loved Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Can we acknowledge how weird it is that this is a franchise that exists? Like, when the first film came out back in 2011, everyone kind of like weeks before its release or months before its release, like, they're doing Planet of the Apes again? The last one was so bad. Who wants this franchise back? What's the point? What's the point? You can't do anything with it. And they found a way to make it really good. It really shocked us all. And that they got better, and they've been able to do these really contemplated pieces on war with complex characters that both sides have heroes and villains. It's really captivating. And this third film, it just looks like this is the war film we finally get. I feel like this is going to be the conclusion that gets us to where it's not going to bring us completely full circle to where we are in the original Planet of the Apes, but I feel like we're going to get thematically there. This is going to be where the apes take control, and I would like to see the Statue of Liberty fall in this movie. I think that would be a real cool visual. Like, that would be the climax. Andy Serkis has made an entire career out of playing motion capture characters, and he's the best in the business for a reason. He's been able to give Caesar this real depth, and just so interesting to watch. And when we say, these movies have very little dialogue in them, but they're still so captivating. They're like silent films, and we're able to understand all the characters' motivations without them having to say a word. I'm just so excited. But I do have one point to make, and it's that I'm worried. And the only reason I'm worried is that this has a lot of parallels to the X-Men franchise, where both First Class and Rise of the Planet of the Apes came out in 2011. When they were first out, no one expected anything from them. Everyone was like, these are going to be flops, these are going to be terrible. And they shocked critics and audiences. People loved them. And they got really big on DVD. So when the sequels came out, both X-Men Days of Future Past and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes in 2014, they were some of the biggest films of 2014, the biggest films at Fox. They were critically loved, financial hits. And here we are, the third film in each franchise. Also, interesting note, is that both X-Men First Class and Rise of the Planet of the Apes are done by a different director than the second and third installments in the X-Men and Apes franchise. Both Bryan Singer and Matt Reeves are directed the second and third films. So we get to War and Apocalypse let us down. Apocalypse was a major mishap, and I'm really hoping that this doesn't repeat the same mistake. I hope this is where the parallel between X-Men and Planet of the Apes divulges. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for the week. Like I said, not much this week because of the holidays, but next week, stay tuned because Janet will be back, and next week is also the premiere. We will have a review of Star Wars Rogue One, or actually should I call it Rogue One, a Star Wars story, since that's what it's actually called. And we'll have more movie news, obviously, with the holidays. More trailers will come up. We'll have the trailer for Fast and the Furious 8, or as they're calling it, Fate of the Furious. Get it? Fate. 8. It's stupid. But it's so stupid that it works. That's why we like the Fast and the Furious films. They're stupid, but we enjoy them. Also, we might have a new trailer for Logan coming next week. They officially classified one, so we probably will see a trailer for Logan. And if we're lucky, possibly another Wonder Woman trailer, because I can't get enough Wonder Woman. And I wouldn't be surprised if either this week or within the coming weeks we don't get a trailer for Justice League. That's the last big major release of 2017 that doesn't have a big trailer coming out. So guys, thank you for watching. If you want to find me, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RLFink94. And guys, please subscribe to this channel if you like this. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter, and we'll keep you up to date on all the movie news that we find. Thank you for watching and staying within the frame. Have a good day.